Hi, I'm Susannah. I'm a co-founder of Enterprise Partnerships WA alongside my colleague Claire Wood, and we've been supporting the Gumbaaragan First Nations Women Business Owners Initiative in the Kimberley. The Gumbaaragan First Nations Women's Business Owners Camp was a key activity of the Mugunda Makers Initiative in 2023. So Mugunda is Jaru for tomorrow. The Mugunda Makers, so Tomorrow Makers initiative is a collaborative initiative between a number of organisations. It is led by Kimberley Jeegers, which is a Indigenous owned and led business led by Natasha Short, who's based in Kununurra in the East Kimberley. Enterprise Partnerships WA, so our organisation, we are the implementing partner for the Mugunda Makers initiative in the Kimberley. And supporting partners are also Good Return and the Menzies Foundation. So Meshpoints supported the Gumbaaragan First Nations Women's Business Leaders Camp through a Catalyst Inspire grant. So this grant specifically supported a sundowner networking event as part of the two-day camp, and it also enabled a number of key women from Mugunda Makers to attend the event, which otherwise wouldn't have happened. The Catalyst Inspire grant was critical to this initiative going forwards, supporting the women who otherwise wouldn't have been able to attend the event. The Meshpoints network has been incredibly supportive and enabling for us as an organisation across a number of levels. So as a funder, it's been very responsive to the projects we've put forward, such as the Gumbaaragan project, and very responsive at all levels at that application phase, throughout the project and then through acquittal and evaluation. The Meshpoint Network's communication channels has been, again, really supportive to raise awareness and give a voice to First Nations women in the Kimberley around, including them in this bigger WA innovation ecosystem conversation. And again, the events that Meshpoints has curated and the sub-constellations that have formed have given us really direct conversations and therefore partnership development with key people and organisations who have synergies in our work or are looking to address similar systemic challenges. The collaboration with Meshpoints, Space Cubed and Lottery West has also supported greater recognition of the need for the type of support that remote First Nations women's need in the broader WA innovation ecosystem, and the types of support that they need to be included in those conversations. The events and sub-constellations that we've been able to access through the initiative have also been really useful in developing new partnerships and networks to further support the work that Mugunda Makers and Enterprise Partnerships WA does. And I think the structure of Meshpoints will really support, with the right support, will include those women in that ecosystem. In terms of the startup business development space, women tell us that currently it is really challenging for them to access the right type of support that they need to start businesses and also grow businesses. So this might be things such as access to phone or internet, it might be access to space and community, it might be access to those networks and partnerships that they need, it might be flexibility of support that's needed to allow for cultural commitments or family commitments. But I suppose the biggest message that women are telling us is that the type of support they need is trauma-informed and healing-centred support. So really an understanding of the historical and ongoing trauma that women experience as a result of colonisation and ongoing colonial practices. So women tell us they need a safe and supportive place where they can be respected and bring forth their strengths and contributions in in a safe way, in a culturally safe way. So I suppose that's what we are doing through Mugger Makers and our other programs through Enterprise Partnerships WA. And I think that's what's needed across the wider ecosystem as well. A direct achievement from the camp was the ability to engage directly in Indigenous women's business through the camp. So the camp was held at the Gumbaragan Eco Retreat, which is a Indigenous owned and led business run by Kathleen Cox on her country, about 2 hours north of Broome on the Dampier Peninsula. And yeah, I think that was a really important, an important thing for Kathleen to gain that business, particularly after the tourism closures over COVID. And it was also really significant for women to be invited and hosted by Kathleen on her country, where she was sharing stories about her culture and country, and also role modelling, I suppose, a successful business and what that looks like to women. And we know that role modelling is really important in both confidence and women stepping into this space. But it also provided an opportunity to bring women together to support each other. So for many women, self-employment and business is a new pursuit in remote communities or towns in the Kimberley. And so the opportunity to bring women together in solidarity to learn from each other and support each other, where they're trying to create social change in their communities to address really complex issues in their community through business development was really meaningful. Another achievement from the initiative was the partnerships that were developed across the camp. A key idea that came out of the camp was around women being able to grow their businesses, and how that was difficult for women because of limited access to capital and being ready for investment, and to often the triggering and problematic way that women currently engage in that capital system or don't engage in that capital system. And so an idea that's come out from the camp is the development of a new investment tool that is better suited to First Nations women and how they venture. And this is now a project that's being developed through the Mugger Makers initiative, through partnerships that were developed on the camp, as well as we're also developing partnerships across the wider WA innovation ecosystem to support this new initiative as well. There were many rich conversations that happened across the event, and women spoke to us about just how important the Mugger Makers initiative is to them in terms of providing a collective voice for them across that ecosystem. So it's really, I suppose, in a way, an advocacy tool for women, for First Nations women who are venturing, probably on two levels. At an individual level, in enabling them to navigate that service system and broader ecosystem, and also at a systems level in supporting them to really change and cultivate that ecosystem so that it better supports them and their families. What came out of the Gumbaragan initiative was that just how useful the gatherings are for women, and that face-to-face time, that time to support each other and build that solidarity. So we, since the camp, we've set up regular what we're terming yarning circles in the 6 major towns across the Kimberley, where women meet monthly to discuss their business aspirations, what's going well, and any needs that they have in a very place-based way. So those will be continuing throughout the year and ongoing. We're also planning a number of other larger on-country events. So we've got one coming up in June at Home Valley Station, and we hope to have another one in the West Kimberley later in the year, where again we are inviting obviously members of the Mugger Makers initiative, but also other partners who can help to address some of those opportunities and barriers to women's venturing.